Favourite at this point. Let's move on because we want to talk about Liverpool last night. Dominic King, the Northwest football reporter with the Daily Mail, is with us now. Dominic, good morning. See, how you doing?
Morning. I'm very well. How are you?
Good, yeah. I guess there was always going to be a bit of a wobble from a Liverpool perspective, and this is not the worst wobble that's ever happened to a team. You know, they've extended their lead after the round of midweek fixtures in the Premier League. So the fact that Man City have lost isn't irrelevant. It's actually unbelievably important, and that changes the context of how Liverpool fans should feel about this game. But in the moment, it feels like a lost opportunity.
Yeah, I think you're right, because everybody just made the assumption that that Liverpool would now be 7 points clear, and they've capitalised on what happened with Manchester City and Newcastle on Tuesday night. But you know, I think people should realise, you know, it's very, very dangerous to make assumptions at this time of year, because everybody assumed Man City were going to beat Newcastle. So listen, there's going to be all sorts of there's going to be twists before the end of the season. Both teams are going to drop points in unexpected places. It's just the nature of a title race. It's just the nature of what happens when pressure is on people, and the striving to get the biggest prize there is in English football. So listen, that point could actually be very, very important at the final outcome, and it shouldn't be lost in the fact that Liverpool could have lost that game, could easily have lost that game last night, and there was a couple of scares in the second half with needed last gasp saves. So you know, point wasn't ideal, but it's not the end of the world by any means.
The psychic fear that so many of the Liverpool fans that I'm mates with and that get in touch with us on the show is so heavy and laden down with history that I wonder if stuff like the things that happened in the game last night, ordinarily if you were a manager you would try and brush past them and say the penalty decision, the red card, they're just bad decisions and don't worry about them, lads, they're going to even out over the course of the season. But if you're Klopp and you know and you can sense that in the city and on the terraces, in the seats rather, that there is just this kind of fear of the burden of history, do you actually just start turning this into a look, they're out to get us, they're trying to stop us here? Do you try and foment some kind of underdog, us against them mentality?
No, I think if Liverpool are going to win the league, it will be down to Jurgen Klopp. Every time every press conference that I've been at with him this season, he's got the air of a man who's got absolute total trust in his team. He's won 2 titles with Borussia Dortmund, so he knows what it takes, what is going to be needed. You're dead right to talk about the nervousness, because I wrote a piece about it last night. You could sense in the ground it was edgy. It wasn't sort of enjoy. I don't think people turned up ready to enjoy themselves last night. I think it was sort of apprehensive. It was like we need to be 7 points clear now. This has got to happen. And when things didn't start going to plan, you could hear groans and you could hear the impatience and whatever. But listen, I totally understand it, because the weight of history is huge, and this is the prize that Liverpool fans have wanted to win more than anything else. And every season that goes by without them winning it, it adds to the frustration, it adds to the impatience, and I just think it's going to be nervy until the end. But then, if they do get over the line, imagine what the party will be like.
One of the concerns had been that Liverpool haven't gone through a bad patch or whatever that may be. But to be fair, Dom, it's been a month since they've really comprehensively won a match in any competition, when they beat Arsenal 5-1 on the 29th of December. So this probably has been their bad patch, hasn't it? And they've come out of the other side relatively unscathed. I know they lost to Manchester City. They got dumped out of the FA Cup, which I don't care about. But it is a result like last night where they're drawing the games rather than getting beaten, which might be pivotal.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to point out about the team that played last night. I know they had 10 days off or 11 days off in between fixtures, and they'd been to Dubai for a bit of sunshine. But there were a few issues last night in terms of fitness, players not being absolutely at the best. And Jordan Henderson was carrying a little issue in his calf. that he had to soldier through. Virgil van Dijk had been ill in the build up to the game, and then you're missing Milner suspended, Oxlade-Chamberlain still not back, Gomez, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho was still carrying an issue in his hamstring, which was why he couldn't start. Dejan Lovren still not ready. So when you start listing players like that, and you can see, it hasn't been great, but he's been trying to sort of muddle on through, and the players have, as you said, if this is the blip, and they've managed to extend the lead while they're in the blip, then doesn't that augur well for what's going to come in the later months? So
given the faith that Klopp has in his team and the fact that there are some players to come back from injury, was there any talk given to signing a replacement fullback in this window? Is it too late now to just buy somebody?
No, they were never going to sign someone. With hindsight, would they have waited a week or 10 days before letting Nathaniel Clyne go to Bournemouth? Possibly. But Klopp was explaining to us that you can't foresee these things. They'd made a decision. You have to sort of be fair to people because Clyne wasn't going to play, so it made sense for him to go at the time. What they couldn't have foreseen was Milner getting a suspension, Trent Alexander-Arnold getting injured, and Gomez's injury taking a little bit longer to heal. But in terms of incomings, no, it was never on the cards. They won't do any business today, and I don't think there'll be anybody going out at all. The only one that's left would be Lazar Markovic, but there's little interest in him at all.
In retrospect, should they have signed, or do you think the only thing they should have done was just not let Clyne go, or until the end? Like, would there have been any sense in spending 20 million quid on Matt Doherty or somebody like that, for example, to get you through to the end of the season and go, look, it's going to win the league for us. That's all we need.
Yeah, Liverpool wouldn't do that. They wouldn't make a sort of short-term stopgap signing. For that, they've got a particular way of doing the business. They only want to add players that are going to be long-term investments, and he wouldn't do a stopgap. There was a few questions asked the night that Lovren got injured at Wolves, and the replies back that we were getting more, but he's not signing anybody just for 1 or 2 games. So he's made his decision. As I said to you, he's got huge faith in the squad, and once he's got everybody fit, I think that they've got one of the best squads in Europe, and nobody would dispute that.
Yes, okay, so fair enough. They're happy enough with that. The way the fixtures are coming is going to be interesting. Next weekend, City play Arsenal on the Sunday, and then Liverpool play West Ham on the Monday. So that's going to be another opportunity for them to respond to a different challenge this time, where the gap gets closed and they have to reassert it. But at least it's West Ham away, and it's not a massive, horrible fixture for them the way West Ham are playing at the moment.
Yeah, you say that, but I think that'll be a very difficult game for Liverpool. I mean, they're a club that needs West Ham are a club that needs a bit of a boost with the TV cameras there, and Monday night under the lights, it'll be a huge crowd. They'll want to see something. They want to see a response, particularly to the back-to-back defeat at Wimbledon and Wolves. They'll be demanding a response there. So it'll be very, very difficult. But then we're assuming that Man City are going to beat Arsenal, and you just don't know what you're going to get with Arsenal, do you? I can't see Man City having a run where they go on 8 or 9 games of straight wins. I just think there's a little bit of unpredictability about them, and the same with Liverpool. I should add. I don't think Liverpool are going to sort of rattle off 6 or 7 wins in a row, particularly with the fixtures that they've got. I think it's just a question of holding the nerve and remembering what they've done to get them into the place that they are now.
Well, given that, is there any hope for Spurs, who are just 7 points behind at this stage?
I think Spurs have been absolutely brilliant. and if Harry Kane was still around, or back sooner, you wouldn't be too ready to rule them out. I just think that again, their injuries will creep up on them at some point. If Tottenham finish in the top 4 this season, they've done a brilliant job, and the fact that they've been in a position where they've been spoken about as title challengers, I think sort of highlights what great players they've got and what a brilliant manager they have.
All right, Dom, great stuff. Thanks a million for taking the call this morning. Cheers.
Pleasure, no problem at all, gents.